Hi, my name is Tracy Michelle Lewis Jiggets, and I'm the founder and chief creative officer at NewSeason Books and Media. I like to think of us as the little publisher that can, not could, can. Recently, I've been thinking about the ways in which we disseminate information nowadays, especially with the internet and social media. And one of the things that I think is critical is that we find ways to do so that will mobilize people to be change agents for themselves, for their communities, for the world at large. So much of my work as a writer and as an educator has been about telling the stories that don't get told. As I have been working to build an independent press and a digital content creation company, I want to, and the vision is to tell those stories that have gone untold, whether that's through the publishing of books, the creating of digital content, the producing of films, all by members of marginalized groups. I want to center the voices of people of color, of women. If I'm honest, it's certainly taken me a while to get to the point where the mission is my driving force for the work, right? For many years, I wrote to tell my own stories, to establish myself as a writer. And as a Black woman creator, there is absolutely room to do that. I will certainly continue to do that. But now, as I watch my daughter, I watch as she questions everything that she sees, and I try to help her find her voice, if you will, help her articulate herself in spaces that are often not ready for her voice. I realized then that my work, my success, only means something if it's used to amplify others. I believe that telling our stories is a kind of freedom. It's freedom from shame and shaming. It's a spiritual, it's an emotional freedom. This is a critical part, I think, in helping the community grow and flourish. And I want to do my part in that. We have some principles at NewSeason Books and Media that we try to live by. And one of them is that in light of our size, we are a very small company based out of the Metro Philadelphia area with limited resources, of course. But one of our principles is that we pray impossible prayers and we dream impossible dreams. But the flip side of that principle is that when those prayers are answered, when those dreams come true, that we become the answer to someone else's prayer, that we help someone else's dream come true. So that's what I hope to do with the company. That's what we are doing. We have published a number of books over the last 15 years, and within the last year have signed a number of amazing authors that I'm really excited about. How did I get started? Wow, that's a long story. I'm originally from Louisville, Kentucky. Was born and raised in Louisville. But in 1997, after graduating from the University of Kentucky, I packed up all my little bags, was given some furniture by my grandmother and my parents, packed up my little U-Haul van, and with $300 in my pocket and a signed lease, moved to a really small efficiency apartment on the 75th and South Shore in Chicago. If there was ever a cliche, I was it, right? The country girl from Kentucky headed to the big city, and I was green. I also wasn't always clear what I wanted to do. I've always had these two sides of me. I've always had this entrepreneurial brain, right? The marketing, that piece side of me. I remember being 3 years old. I think I was three, maybe 3 or 4, out in the front of the apartment complex where my babysitter was, and trying to sell people pine cones, like literally the pine cones off the tree for 10 cents. And I guess because I was cute, they bought them for 10 cents. But, I've always had this entrepreneurial spirit, but I was always a creative. I've been writing since childhood, writing stories, writing songs, writing plays. I remember writing skits for my parents to watch on Christmas Day, and my brother, who hated them, I'd dress him up and he'd have to be one of the characters. So it's always these two sides of me, this creative side and this entrepreneurial side always existed, but I don't think I always knew what to do with that. And so I spent a lot of my 20s trying to figure that out. I lived in Chicago for a few years, then moved to northern New Jersey in the New York City area, and was working in business. Went and got an MBA, working for some Fortune 500 companies, and then very quickly decided that that was not for me. And so embarked on this career as a writer, and then as a publisher. And so that is the genesis, I think, of this. Someone I just was reading said, the hero stories, that you read about, or the people that you admire, always has some kind of trial before there's triumph. And it really is true. There were times where things were tight. I remember asking for someone's trans pass in Chicago. I think it was Chicago, when they would get off the bus because I didn't have enough money to get a bus pass to get where I need to go. Almost getting evicted from my apartments. And again, I had a job, and I had the ability to make money, but I had a dream, I had a dream. And that dream wasn't entirely clear. And it's taken me until my 40s to really begin to figure out to get clarity on that dream. My word, I guess, to anyone who wants to make a difference is really to look around you, to tap into what's actually going on around you. I mean, we live in a culture that perpetuates this notion that all of the good work is happening out there. And that's just not true. I mean, I think it's maybe easy for young people even to see, the activists on social media or the talking heads on news shows and believe that the number of likes you have or the number of viewers or followers that you have is the only way that you can make a difference nowadays. I'm not so sure that is. I think the way that we make a difference is to meet the need of your neighbor, to the person next door to you. And I think if we were all doing that, then our communities would look a little different. What I hope to do with the work that I do with NewSeason Books and Media and all of the other entities that come out of that is to actually see people, to see their hearts and to see their souls, and to do what I can, to do what we can locally even, to help and to facilitate healing. Again, that can happen through the reading of one of our books, through one of our projects, one of our events, it could happen through anything. And so that's the goal. And so I just hope that you will join me on this mission. I have come to a pretty humble place where I realize that I can't do this without help. I can't tell these stories and produce the kind of quality books and media and content that I want without help. And so I am here asking for that help. We are a company that operates in integrity. So you can trust that when you sow a seed, to use church language, into our organization, that seed we'll be planted well, we'll be nurtured, we'll be cared for, we'll be watered, and we'll grow. And so that's what we're hoping to do. So thank you. Thank you so much. That's it. I think I got it. Woo.